Hello, everyone. D. Alfred Ostrowski here. In this recording, I'm going to be introducing the installation and setup and usage of the Grafana open source application monitoring graphical interface. I'm going to be using it in conjunction with Prometheus, which is doing the data collection and some analysis. And with Grafana, we can do a lot more detailed analysis. I'm going to show you how to get up and running immediately. I'm not going to be started absolutely from scratch because in this demo, I'm going to be building on the Prometheus installation, which is used in some cases in conjunction with Grafana. But I need something to collect the actual data, so I'm going to use it in conjunction with it. So I'm assuming that you've been through the Prometheus installation demo that I have. And if you haven't, it'll be in your best interest to look at that unless you are already familiar and skilled with the use of Prometheus. So here I'm assuming that you have a Prometheus session up and running as I've demonstrated in the video. And I have an instance, a T2 instance on Amazon EC2 running with that. So I'm going to build on that. I'm going to start up another terminal and get up and running with Grafana. So I'm going to grab the IP address. I already have the security set up. I can already look at my data with the Prometheus monitor. And let me start up that second party session here. So you can see here, I ran everything out of the home Ubuntu. So I'm running this just as a sandbox. And we have the Prometheus YAML file. And I've already pulled down the Dockerized version of Prometheus that's up and running. So let's install Grafana. And as usual, all the commands here are going to be posted on the associated GitHub that's going to be listed below. So I'm going to do I already have Docker installed. I'm pulling down a Dockerized version of Grafana with a sudo docker pull Grafana/Grafana. In similar fashion as working with Prometheus, I need to set up a data volume with Grafana. So do a sudo docker volume create Grafana data. Now I can run right out of that container. In this case, I'm going to be running it at the port 3000. The sudo docker container run volume Grafana data port 3000, name Grafana, and then the network that I define with Prometheus, define this network, and then the actual name of the application. You have to be careful. If you run this several times, you might have to either reset the container or give it a different name, but it'll give you an error if you try to stop and restart it off the same instance, just as it is configured. So Grafana is up and running, no major errors. I can start the interface to Grafana, and I can bring in another tab to do that. Let me grab my DNS here. And you want to double check the inbound rules to make sure that you have the traffic set up so you don't have a 404 error. Here, I'm going to read Grafana as I've defined at port 3000. And I have the Grafana interface. It defaults to admin to get started. It's going to prompt me for a password change. And it's not going to require an extensive password file name. So I'm just going to call it admin2. Admin2. Since I'm only doing this as a sandbox test. And now I'm into Grafana. I can add a data source by clicking into data sources. I want to perform some more extensive graphics on Prometheus. So I'm going to click on that as my data source. Now here I have localhost. I need to grab my DNS, make sure that I have it from my EC2, and define that as 9090 because I'm going to be using this to output the information coming from Prometheus that Prometheus is collecting on itself. So I'm going to put in the DNS, squeeze that in there, and I should be good to go. I can default all the other parameters. It should work appropriately. I can do a save and test. And we see up here, I had a green sign at the down here as well. Data source is working. So I can go back to administration and I can click into my data sources. I get a different view here. It shows up here in the panel. I can see the DNS here that confirms that this is actually due to my activity. And I can click in here to build a dashboard, add a visualization. From this point, I have new dashboard, a panel that I edit. I can go down to the lower left and select metric. I have any number of metrics I can scroll through. Just say go GC duration seconds, just as an arbitrary starting point. And I can run query, and I already have some metrics coming up here through the Grafana display. I can update that with any number of parameters and intervals, and you can play with this and change it to suit your needs and do any application, any of the macros that are provided here. So there's a lot of configuration. You can do bar graphs and histograms and metrics of that nature as well. So we're up and running with Grafana and Prometheus, and it was a very quick install relying on the Dockerized version. So thanks for listening. Hope this helps. As usual, the information will be for the commands is posted on my GitHub and it'll be associated with this video. So thanks for listening. Take care.